We've got Renee in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, Renee, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
All right. Well, me and my boyfriend have recently become engaged.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And we both agreed on the amount that we would spend on the honeymoon and the wedding. But as we were spending the money on the different things that we need, we're like, wow, this is a lot of money. So we were just wondering, we're trying to be responsible with it while also at the same time, because COVID's taken so much away, we're still trying to have a good wedding. So are we being responsible with our money or not? Are we overspending on our wedding and our honeymoon?
When you said we realized, wow, that's a lot of money, you mean the amount of money you budgeted, or you mean you started actually pricing things out and the quotes you're getting are more than you expected? Which one are you referring to?
I would say it's just as we were spending the money, we were like, wow, that's a lot of money. And because neither one of us have a fully funded emergency fund, we were like, okay, yeah, this is a lot of money. Should we just be putting it into our emergency fund? Or, we are cash flowing everything. So, yeah, it was just as we were spending it, we're like, this is a lot of money.
What's the budget? What's the number y'all came up with?
$10,000 for the wedding and the honeymoon.
Okay, cool. And do you guys have any debt?
No, we're both debt free.
Okay. You said y'all haven't got a fully funded emergency fund yet, separately or together or whatever. What's that amount between both of y'all?
Between the two of us, well, he had $6,000, I have $2,000. So together we have $8,000.
Okay, cool. And what's your income?
He makes about $2,000 a month. I bring home about $7,000.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, Renee. $10,000 is a lot of money for, a week, essentially, for your wedding and a honeymoon, when you're going, oh my gosh, this is a short amount of time, when you look at it through that lens. And then when you go for a wedding budget, it's actually a really conservative budget in the wedding industry. Now, we're not going to use either one of those lenses to be the only lens we look at it through. And what's interesting about money is, yes, it's a physical thing, but it's also emotional. And so even if George and I said, yeah, I think the amount of money you're spending is fine, you're cash flowing it, you do have some emergency fund going, you can continue to build that up, you're kind of setting aside this money for the wedding, and it's not unreasonable. You're not being a diva, Renee. For a wedding and a honeymoon, that's very conservative, in my opinion. But the but here is that if you're not comfortable with it, if you've got a check in your spirit, well, it's your money and it's your wedding, and you can change the budget. You can rein it back and say, hey, we feel better about 8, or we feel better about 7, or whatever. We're never going to tell you not to save money, because that's always a good idea to set you up for financial success. But I will say that in the grand scheme of things, you guys are debt free, you're smart, you've got a good income, and your budget is not unreasonable at all. I think you're fine. But it doesn't matter what I think, because if you feel checked in your spirit about it, then you're welcome to change that. George, what would you say? I mean, this is one of those. It's a very
it's
safe.
Funny. I just did research on this because someone asked on Reddit, and I was on
there,
Reddit.
Thought, don't get me started with Reddit.
Well, here's the thing, Christy. I thought this is a good question. They were asking, what is the right budget for a wedding? And there's no Ramsey parameter. Right. You can't Google and say, well, Dave says no more than $10,000. That doesn't exist. What he says is pay cash.
Right.
Don't let it be a huge portion of your world. And it sounds like you guys are doing this on your own. There's no family helping out here. And so again, like Christy said, do what makes you comfortable, but also realize you're not a bad person. Weddings are just expensive. The whole industry is basically a scam, because they can charge whatever they want. People go, well, a venue is what a venue costs. So if you can find ways to trim, that's fine. But I want you to have a great time. I don't want you sitting there worried the whole day that you're counting the minutes and comparing it to how much dollars that costs, going, well, it's $1,000 an hour to throw this party for everyone. So I want you to do it on your terms. And so if you're doing it for anyone else other than yourselves, that's when I would go, let's rethink this.
Yeah. And the other thing, I love how you said that, Renee. I mean, George, because Renee, we want you to enjoy it. This is your wedding day. You don't want to be thinking about the dollar per hour cost. And I just want to say it again, $10,000 in the wedding industry. I want to reiterate, wedding and honeymoon.
I'm
He's
impressed.
really conservative. That's really conservative. You guys have done well. You're not being crazy here, and you're cash flowing it. And so here's what I would say, and this is in light of George's advice. I love how he said this. You guys maybe revisit that budget. And if you're like, yeah, 10 is good. We've done our research. We can, 10 is what we want to spend. We're comfortable with it. Then don't look back. Decide on 10, commit to 10, and don't think about it. Make it work within 10, but then be like, we feel good about this. We're going to be excited about this day and what we've committed to. Because, George, I'll tell you, when it comes to like house projects, like improving our house, we're actually doing something right now. We're paying someone to restain our deck. It's kind of worn down. Matt and I can come up with a number we feel good about, but when it comes time to spend it, I'm still not excited to spend the money. Now, I'm excited to spend money on clothes, shoes, earrings, fun stuff, but house stuff, I'm not. And a wedding is obviously more exciting than house stuff, but sometimes when you get into those higher dollar amounts, it still can be emotionally hard to let go of that amount of money, even if you know you want the thing, like a stained deck or even better, an awesome wedding. And so there is something to it of just committing. Be like, we're committing to this amount of money. We feel good about it, and we're not going to look back. We've got the money. We're not going to feel guilty. Money should be enjoyed, you guys. And so, yeah, Renee, I love your question. I love how conservative you and your husband are being, future husband are being, and I hope you have a great wedding. I think you're being really smart about it. Well done.